Steph got the waves.
Talk for a minute, baby, can we talk for a minute? Can we talk for a minute? Can we talk for a minute? Baby, can we talk for a minute? Can we talk for a minute? Let's just talk for a minute. Let's talk about the way we've been living. Shooting this podcast, trying to make a difference. We could talk about your goals, or let's talk about your vision. We could talk about the foul way that people have been living.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mikkel from Let's Hope with Mikkel and Tacit. Today our special guest is...
My name is Charles Pierce, but everybody know me by the name of Ruff. I'm from downtown Jacksonville. I graduated from Jacksonville High School. I was a 3-sport letterman. I played basketball, football, and baseball. But I excelled at football and baseball, which I had scholarships for. But at a time, my life took a turn for the worse, and that's what we're about to get into right now.
What you mean by your life took a turn?
Well, it was a night of our first game of my last year of school. We was playing White Oak. That was always our first game of the year, my senior year. It was a Thursday night, and I was with 3 of my partners. 2 of them I went to school with, and 1 was their first year of college. And we was on our way to a teenager club called Jams. That was a little teen club that we used to go to, man, for the teenagers and everything, a little hangout spot for us. And we was leaving in the downtown area, leaving from down there on our way to Jams, and got pulled over by the police for some reason. Took us downtown, said there was some drugs found in the car, and it's never been the same since then.
What advice would you give to young people who feel trapped in cycles of violence or crime?
Always remember this. It's easy to get in trouble, but it's very hard to get out of trouble. Know who your friends are, know your surroundings. A real friend will never lead you to trouble or put you in a situation that you can't come back from. And always remember this too. If you think you in a so-called gang or you so-called hustling and things of that nature, I'm gonna give you some good advice. The first thing you need to ask yourself is this: is what I'm doing worth the risk of me going to jail, getting killed, or being away from my family? And if you can check all them boxes, you will have your answer. Things get rough. Everybody goes through something. Financial, with your parents, with your siblings, with your family. Everybody goes through that. But just know that there's a brighter light at the end of the tunnel. And being affiliated or hustling is not the answer. It's always a better answer. So just know your environment, know your real friends. If you have problems, don't never keep it bottled up. Go talk to your parents about it. Go to the rec. If you got a recreation center that you go to, talk to somebody of an elderly age, and especially someone who's been through what you'll think you're about to go through.
What are some of the practical steps that young people can take to avoid the streets and focus on building a better future?
Talking to your parents about it, talking to a mentor, your coach. When I was coming up, we had a whole neighborhood of mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles. My biological father was never in our household, but always had a father figure in my life, whether it was my Uncle Tony Gray or my grandfather or some of the older teenagers in the neighborhood that used to make sure the little ones was always all right. We always had a place to go to, the recreation center after school, when school was out. We always had something to do. And everyone in our neighborhood knew everyone. You see what I'm saying? So we had more than just, even though some of us come from single parent homes, we still had a village of people that was like our family. So always, if you feel like you're on the edge, that the streets is calling you, or you're about to get in some trouble, like I said, always ask yourself, is it worth the risk of you losing your life, getting into trouble, going to jail, or being away from your family? Always remember that, and always talk to somebody about that. Whether it's your parents, your coach, a mentor, your pastor, his wife, just somebody. Just please talk to somebody. Somebody will listen.
Don't have to be blood related either.
Does not have to be blood related.
So how do you stay focused and avoid falling back into old habits or negative environments?
One thing you really have to do is be able to want to change within. I don't care how many people that comes to you, you need to stop doing this, you need to stop doing that. You have to want to be able to change within. That's the first step. Once you have accomplished changing within, then you have to ask yourself, well, what was I doing that was causing me to be in this revolving cycle in and out of prison and going back to the streets hustling? That's your environment. You have to change your environment. The people who are still doing the same thing you was doing when you were away, you have to change who you hang out with and where you used to go. It doesn't make you better than anybody else, but if you want to have your freedom and stop that revolving, stop being in that revolving door in and out of incarceration, adapting to incarceration, trying to adapt back to society, that's a form of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, you know? So you have to change your environment, man. And if you really have real friends or people that care about you, once they see you doing something to better your life and knowing that you have changed and you trying to make a difference, they will be there for you. Only the ones that want you to still be doing the same thing they doing, as long as you're doing what they doing, then they cool with you and all of that. And the need of trying to fit in. You have to better yourself. Forget what everybody else is doing or what they're talking about.
Right, right. So what was the moment or experience in prison that made you realize you needed to change your life?
The first thing was when I saw that paperwork. And this is my personal paperwork. I have a whole bunch of paperwork here about me personally, my background, my charges, what I said in court, let you know that I didn't snitch on nobody. I had people that was going to come testify against me. So, I just kept it at 100 because I knew what I was getting into and I knew the repercussions and consequences about what I was doing. But to answer your question, the first thing was when I saw the United States of America versus Charles E. Pierce Jr. And the first thing I said was, what in the hell did I do to the U.S. government? You know, that was the first thing. The second thing was when I got them 13 years in court, well, 15 years, which I did 13 years federal time, is when I was in Kentucky. My first institution was Kentucky. And we was going through a bunch of mountains, just up and up and up and up. It seemed like it never ended until we got to the top of a mountain. And I saw this prison at the top of a mountain, man, in the middle of nowhere, like 9 hours away from Jacksonville, North Carolina. And I was saying, man, this got to be the last one. Just that vision, man, of where I was at in the middle of nowhere. Like it seemed like somebody just came in at me in the middle of the night and just took me somewhere and just dropped me off somewhere. That's what it felt like.
So how long you been home for?
I've been home since December the 14th, the 9th of 2017. So I've been home over a little 7 years now.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Cuzzo.
But as a result of your journey, what has been the impact of your mindset and personal growth?
It's a good question, man. My impact is that I kept my promise to my mother, my family, my kids that I never leave them again, that I never go back to the streets of selling powder cocaine, right? That was number one. I stood fast. I stayed fast to that. I never went back on my word on that. And it takes, once you're used to a certain thing and know what that certain thing can do, and you're no longer doing it no more, it hurts, man. I mean, you really think about it, because at any given time, any given moment, you know that you can go back to that because it's always there. That is something that never go away. But when you've been through something, man, and you've seen a lot of people die while you was gone, you seen your kids grow up before your face, you see you see your neighborhood done changed, man. You're not recognizing nothing. Your city done been built up. That's a lot of time that's been lost and missed. And time is something that we can never get back. So it's what you do from the time that you were here and the time that you got put back in society into the time that you leave here, right? Um, me standing on my word, me going back to college, getting my degree in IT. Now that is what I do now. I do IT work. This company gave me a chance, and I thank God for that. And I just stay focused, man. I don't go out no more. I don't hang out. The dudes I used to hang with, they're either longer no here or they're away. And if they still here, I just keep my distance. And I do my best to stay in church and I stay prayed up, man. I pray to God and I talk to God every day. And if I go through something the same way that I want a child to reach out to me or another mentor, I still reach out to people too that's been here longer than me. And I just keep my circle around positive people that's doing positive things. And if you keep yourself around positive people that's doing positive things, that's going to reflect on you.
True. So, what kept you motivated to stay focused and work towards your freedom, even when it felt hopeless?
Just staying away from things that I used to do, knowing that I'm going to tell you what, I'm just going to say it like this right here. Whenever you can get up at any time of the day, any time of the night, I don't care what it is, get out your bed, walk out that door, look in the sky, see the stars, the sun, the moon, or whatever. Get in your car and just if you just want to drive around the block and just drive around the block and then come back in your house and lock your door, to me that is priceless. Instead of being behind bars and hearing that click every 5:30 in the morning, that lock on that door, or hearing the door close when you're going outside, or hearing somebody on the intercom or hearing 300 or 400 voices a day, just everybody yelling and talking over each other, just being home, being able to do things that I want to do without somebody having to tell me what to do or telling me when I can do it or how I have to do it. I take nothing for granted anymore. I don't take life for granted anymore. It's the simple things that I can do now that mean the world to me that I couldn't do when I was away. So that's what keep me motivated, you know.
So, so the people know it's real. How long was your last bid?
My last bid was 13 years. 22 years of my life has been due to incarceration. But my longest bid and my last bid, and I promise you I would never do a bid again, was 13 years with the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
Did you ever do a state bid?
Yeah, I did quite a few state bids. And my first state bid was this is funny, man. This is funny that you asked that question about my state bid because back when I was 17, 18, 19 years old, this was my mindset when this certain thing happened to me. So my first bid was in 88. No, take that back. 89. I was 18 years old. I had a 2-year bid back then. Time was cut in half, and then you automatically got 6 days off your sentence for every month after that. So if you had a 2-year bid, the most you probably would have did on it was between 9 to I say 11 months, right? Then you was done with it. I did that bid, right? And when I first got there, everybody knew who I was, the quarterback, the smart dude, the athlete from Jacksonville, North Carolina, because a lot of people from Jacksonville was at that prison that I was at that was called Carteret County Correctional Center. And this programmer, case manager that was there, Miss Norville, she came and grabbed me one day and she said, "Look, you thinking about going to college?" I said, "Yes, I want to go back to school." You know what I'm saying? I said, "I'm still young. I just, my class just graduated." So she helped me get my schooling together, right? She let me work out, go out there and play ball and stuff, like keep myself in shape. And that time, one of my mother's old ex-boyfriends that lived in Durham, because my mom used to go to Central too before she went to Durham Tech for business, had showed the coach over there some old tapes of me, right? So one day I get a letter in the mail after I had got my GED and everything, right? I got a letter in the mail saying that I got accepted to go to North Carolina Central University, right? The happiest moment of my life. First thing I said was, I got a chance to do this again. It's an all black school. It's no D1 school, but if I prove my point here, transfer it to a D1 and then go from there, right? So I get out of prison. I go to Central, get all my paperwork together, me, my grandfather, my mother. And the time of me registering for school, I'm in school for about a month now. I found out I got an old charge from somewhere. Don't know where the charge come from, a ghost warrant, something like that, right? But I'm in school now. And I'm like, well, I know these people don't let me stay in school. Give me a probation because I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? No longer hustling no more. I'm in college. My dream to go to college and play ball. And I always wanted to be an engineer, architecture engineer. In the process, when I come back to court, it's time for me to come back to court. And I'm with my lawyer, Walter Vatcher, may he rest in peace, right? And Vatcher said, look, get some letters from your professors, bring some of your grades back, you know what I'm saying, with you so I can show the judge, right? So he showed the judge and everything. To think the judge at the time name was James Strickland. May he rest in peace too. And basically what Strickland said was, whatever the DA say, I'm gonna go along with what he say, right? Either to let you stay in school or give you an active sentence, right? And Strickland even admit that he was proud of me going back to school and everything because he said he should come some of the football games. And he glad that I got my stuff together, right? And there was this DA, this ADA, that gave me an active sentence, took me out of school, gave me an active sentence, right? And I asked myself, man, what type of human being would take a young kid from out of school to send him to prison? Understand what I'm saying? And that hurt me, cuzzo. That hurt me, Mikhail. That really hurt me, man. And at that point, man, I ain't care nothing about the law no more. You see what I'm saying? Because I really feel like if that was somebody else, they probably would have gave that kid a chance, you know? And then the other side to this is before I got sent away on this federal bed in '05, I ran into that same DA. He was an ADA then, who went into private practice. And I never forget this. We was at the McDonald's over there by Georgetown. And he ran into me, said, Prof, let me talk to you for a minute. You see, man, I still hurt behind this collar because I feel like if I would have stayed in school at that time, ain't no telling what probably would have happened, what I could have did with my life, man, or impact I would have had on somebody else's life, right? And he told me, he said, look, I had no business taking you out of school, man, and sending you to prison after I heard a story about you, right? But he said, I was new in town, I was a new ADA, and I was trying to make a name for myself. And he said, if you can find it in your heart, man, to forgive me and accept my apology, you know what I'm saying? You know, I hope you will. And this me being the person I am, man, I said, I forgive you. But after that, Kels, I didn't care nothing about the law no more, man. I felt like they ain't care nothing about me. Why should I care about them? And I just got in the streets real heavy, man. Excuse me.
So how do you address and overcome the stigma of having been incarcerated when trying to help others?
It's still hard, man, because no matter what you do, how much you give back, how much you show, how much you prove yourself, man, it's always going to be somebody that's going to reflect back on what you did in the past, man. It seems like people never forget. One thing about me when I hustle, you can ask any adult that knew me on that block to this day. I had morals when I hustled, man. I never sold to no kids. I never sold to no pregnant women. I never was out there in the broad daylight when business was open. You know what I'm saying? If I did, I always went somewhere in the cut where nobody couldn't see what I was doing. You never heard me cursing on the block in front of elderly people. I always respect my elders. That's why whenever I got in some trouble, something happened to me, they were always there for me. Understand what I'm saying? I never burnt no bridges, you know? But it's still hard that people judge you by your past, man. Like I said, I've been home a little over 7 years. I went back to Coastal, graduated with a 4.0 in information systems in IT. You know, I got a job doing IT work. I do my best to work with kids, especially to talk to the kids at my church. People know that I want to coach, but by me having a past background, they would not let me come out there and coach with the kids. But if the kids are going through something, whether they got one foot in the streets and one foot in school, like I was, you know, it takes somebody who's been through something to reach somebody who's about to go through something, you know, and who better to talk to these kids or be around these kids? Somebody who's been through that, and then on the other side, who was very athletic, and then on the other side, was very intelligent, you know? It has caused me higher paying jobs. It has caused me to go places that the other people can go that I can't go. I have to be with somebody else. And I feel like if I pay my debt to society, I never raped no one. I'm not a child molester. I never killed anyone. Understand what I'm saying? I have a nonviolent record. So why are people still holding that against me? Let me help these kids that need to be helped, you know? And then you know my passion, man. Kids wanting to coach because I never got to play ball on a professional level because of what I went through. And the only thing I want to do is reach out to kids, man, to show them that there's a better way, that somebody care about you, that there's somebody there for you, that I hear you. I'm not listening to you. I hear you because I've been through that. And I'm not going to let my past or how somebody dictate where I can go and what I can do and what I can say stop me from what I need to do. So that's what keeps pushing.
So if the kids have any questions for you and all that, I hear you keep referring back to you helping kids in the church. What church do you go to?
I go to First Missionary Baptist Church, 153 Broadhurst Street, right across the street from the Board of Education, the Armory, and the County Fairgrounds.
So what was the hardest part about reintegrating back into society after being in prison for so long?
This still being judged by your past, man, basically. That's all, because I just covered some of that, what I was just talking before, but still being judged, man. You know, who are we to judge? It's a lot of people that have done a lot of bad things. You just ain't never been caught.
Never been caught.
That's all it is. You understand what I'm saying? And one thing about life that I think people get away from is accountability. You have to be accountable for all your actions. I've never denied, sugarcoated anything that I've done in my past. I've been 100 with it. I have nothing to have, and I have nothing to hide. That's my history. That's my story, right? But don't judge me, man. Look at me for the person who I am today and what I have done since I've been back into society.
So if you could go back in time, what would you tell the younger you to help avoid mistakes you made?
When I was 15 or 16, 15 to 16, my mother and my stepfather, Cliff, Lighty, may he rest in peace, had kind of separated due to financial problems. Telephone company closing down, Connor Mobile Homes closing down and relocating, right? So it's like it's like we did the Jeffersons backwards. Instead of moving up, we moved from up to moving down, right? So what I would have told the old self is that, look, we all go through something, financial hardships, family hardships, school hardships, whatever the case may be. But you have a strong mother. Just focus on being a kid because your mother has been through this before and she has a strong village behind her. Nobody's going to see her homeless. Nobody's going to see her without no food. Nobody's going to see her without no clothing. Understand what I'm saying? And nobody's going to see her without no transportation. So what I know now, if I knew that back then, I just would have kept being a kid, going to school, getting good grades, still concentrating on my sports, making it to the next level, and let mama and her village do what they always did before I was even born. That's what I would tell the old me.
So how old were you when you started hustling?
About 15.
15.
Yes, sir.
So before we end this, I know you see I got a few signatures on this table, and I want you to be one of the persons that signed the table. So if you don't mind, please sign the table. With that being said, a man's past doesn't define his future. Tell a friend, let's talk.